Alrighty, everyone. This is meteorologist Timmy Albertson here with you guys for a quick little tropical update. Hurricane Lee is no longer technically a hurricane. It's kind of transitioned a little bit from a tropical system to a non-tropical system. So technically, it's not really a hurricane, but it still has at least hurricane force winds with it. Let's go ahead here and take a look at the latest wow, let's try that again. Let's take a look at the latest advisory here from Lee. And Lee right now has winds of about 75 miles an hour, so pretty much low end hurricane. Any lower, and it's pretty much a tropical storm, at least at this point. But technically, as I mentioned, it's no longer tropical, it's a post tropical cyclone. Right now, it is located just off the coast of Nova Scotia, and its center is likely brushing up against it right now, so it may have kind of already made a little bit of a landfall. But if you take a look below me here, you see that satellite imagery. It doesn't look like that classic hurricane. Well, there's a lot of drier air that got in on the south side, as well as some wind shear and the cooler temperatures. This thing is weakening. And it's been weakening over the past couple of days. So really what we're seeing is that a lot of the rain is kind of over on the northwestern side of this system. So let's go ahead and we'll flip over to the radar. We'll talk about the wind fields here, and then we'll take a look at the radar. And we got some cool buoy pictures from one of the buoys out there. So let's go ahead and take a look here over at our graphic. And there we go. This is the wind field right now of Lee. That's a pretty wide wind field, but again, the winds are not that strong, or at least not as strong as they were this time last night or even earlier on this week. So let's take a look here. The hurricane force winds right now are estimated to extend, about, let's say about 100 miles out from the center. But mind you, those are winds really just about 75 miles an hour, and that might even be a little generous with the way this system is. However, the tropical storm force winds extend about 370 miles out from the center. That is why we had tropical storm warnings that were in effect or are still in effect across most of eastern Maine. So let's take a look here. We'll flip off the wind map and let's take a look here at the radar here. So give me a moment as I go over here and we'll get this wind radius map up here so we can see a little bit here of the actual rainfall. So again, there it is, mainly on the northern side here, northwestern side of this system. So they're seeing quite a bit of rain right now around the Bangor area, heading back over towards the U.S.-Canadian border. Again, they're going to get some decent rain, but it's not going to be like massive, rainfall amounts or anything like that. But, it will at least be a rainy day today, and it will be pretty breezy. But if you look, there's not too much activity over on the other side. So again, some drier air kind of got pulled in, and that's why we're seeing that. Alrighty, so with that in mind, let's take a look at some buoys here. We got one that is right off the coast of Maine. There it is, buoy 44027, right now with winds of about 43 miles an hour, gusting to about 54 miles an hour. So that is certainly, but take a look at the sea surface temperature, water temperature, only about 56 degrees. So if you are a tropical system, that is very, very unfavorable water temperature for you. So again, that's part of the reason why we've been seeing Lee weakening is because it's been moving over some much cooler temperatures here. So we got that buoy there. One thing I do want to do here, and we'll try to see if we can do this here pretty quickly, is let's see if we can't get kind of a little bit more information out from that buoy. So again, we were taking a look at a buoy that was just right off the coast, pretty much near the center of where Hurricane Lee is. And let's go ahead and see. I'm going to pull up some data here on my end, and let's see if we can't get maybe some more information from that particular buoy. And there's a few other ones out there too. So let's see here if we can't maybe get here and what we said. Which one did we say that was? So here I am forgetting already that number of that buoy there. Let's go ahead and see if we can't get a quick look. It's 44027. Let's see what 44027 has, and a lot in the way of some detail. So we're going to go ahead and flip on over here and let's see what we can't find out. All right, so this is buoy 44027. Let's see some of the data. It's got wind gusts again around 46 knots. So we took a look here. That's over 50 miles an hour, and let's just go ahead and get a precise reading. Again, 46.6 knots. Yeah, 53.59. Oh wait, yeah, we already did that. That was duh. So 53.9. So again, that's the wind gust there. Let's see here. It's got wave heights right now of about 19 feet. So those are some pretty good waves out there. We can see here that pretty much over the past couple of days, you can see how the winds have been steady, and then as soon as this wind field arrived, look at how quickly that kind of shot up there. And so now they're seeing, again, those really gusty winds there. So this buoy is going to be getting rocked pretty much most of the day today. Once we go into the evening, things will really start noticeably quieting down there, if not maybe even just a little bit earlier. But you get the idea. It's going to be kind of a windy day for that particular buoy. We're also going to be seeing some gusts further inland too, especially along and near the coastlines there of Maine. So that'll be also pretty interesting to see what some of the observations we're going to get from that. So let's go ahead actually and see if we can't flip on the surface observations and take a look here and see if maybe we can't find a observation point nearby and may have some good weather with it here, some good wind speeds. Let's take a look here. We got this one that is just outside of Ellsworth. Right now it's got winds gusting to 38 miles an hour. So again, tropical storm force wind gusts, but sustained winds are only about 23 miles an hour. Clouds are pretty low, only about 1,200 feet, and obviously they're seeing some rain there. Temperature there 59 degrees. So again, not a very warm day up here, at least relatively speaking. When we talk about tropical systems, you expect to see temperatures in the 70s and 80s, but of course, again, this is Maine, so it's not going to be that, at least this time of the year, normally. Anyways, 33-mile-an-hour winds up here near Bangor, Maine. Look at that, Bangor, Maine. 45-mile-an-hour wind gust there. That's pretty cool. So it's certainly a windy one there. Winds coming out from the north. That's what we'd expect with the counterclockwise flow of a low-pressure system. The winds are coming in from the north on this side. Over in Canada, they're likely coming over on the Canadian side. They're coming in from the south. Do we happen to have anything from Nova Scotia, at least here at the moment? And I think the answer to that is no. We're going to have to check with Environment Canada, the Canadian Weather Service, and see exactly what they have. We got another buoy that's out here, 4405. Winds there gusting about 51 miles an hour. Sustained winds about 38 miles an hour. Take a look at that waves there, pretty choppy. Let's go ahead and see maybe if we can't get some information on that particular buoy, and I just forgot its number. Go figure, 44005. Let's see if we can't maybe get a little bit of info on that. 44005. Let's see what this guy says. Now, this is on the Gulf of Maine, not too far from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's got waves right now of 20 feet. Ain't that pretty cool? All right, let's take a look at that again. Look at that. It's rocking out there. That is certainly going to be kind of that's a pretty cool shot too, if you ask my opinion. They're all cool, but I mean that's a New England storm there. That's a Canadian Maritime New England looking storm there on the North Atlantic. So imagine being a boat back in the old days, before satellite and weather technology and everything, and this is what you're running into. It's pretty cool out there. Like I said, about 20-foot waves and winds gusting easily over 50 miles an hour in these locations. So even though the wind field has expanded, what you probably have generally noticed here is that those wind speeds are not necessarily all that high, relatively speaking, of tropical systems here. Now, again, as that, when hurricanes weaken, their wind speed ultimately does go down, but the wind field can expand sometimes. So that's what we're seeing a lot of here. And that's why those tropical storm warnings are in effect so far inland in Maine, all the way up here around Caribou, Presque Isle, Maine, up to the Canadian border. And again, the reason for that is just because of that wind field. So they're not going to be seeing hurricane conditions, but they are going to be seeing some pretty gusty winds for the day today, especially the closer you get towards the shore there. Interestingly, normally with hurricanes, the strongest winds of a hurricane generally also a little bit above the surface, and part of that has to do with friction. So it's coming off the water that the elevation kind of increases just a little bit in some of these areas. Some of that maximum wind could maybe find itself, kind of running into the higher elevation a little bit further inland. So that's also something that might be kind of interesting to see if we can get any, little noticeable gusts here, maybe just slightly further inland. I wish we had unlimited observation points, but unfortunately we don't. But that would be pretty interesting to see. But regardless of the fact, you get the idea. Pretty neat. All right, everyone. So that's a quick little update here on no longer hurricane, but post-tropical storm Lee. We'll keep an update here as we go through the afternoon. Make sure you stick around. We're going to have a pretty good day today. We also got two other systems we'll take a look at in the next update, so stick around.